Back for part two of the video game villain tier list. I did go back and add a couple from the games I just did that I probably mentioned as I was going along because I remembered them and I'm like, oh, I probably need to add them. Only one from Diablo and then a few from Fallout, and then we'll get started on the Horizon series. So the only one from Diablo that I really remembered once I looked that I didn't have in there was the Butcher. I feel like the Butcher was in Diablo 1 as well. And in Diablo 3, I do remember the Diablo 3 battle a little bit more. You're on like a great platform or something where the fire comes up in different segments and he shoots out like a cleaver or something at you. Was a fun enough boss fight, so I'll have him in the cool enough, but he was memorable. Okay, and then Fallout. Like I said, Fallout has a ton of enemies and things that aren't necessarily bosses, but they level up over time while you're in the game. There are a few though that are like specific characters that you fight once and they're gone. I don't really remember, or I didn't remember their names or anything when I first did the list. So I went back and looked. I'm like, oh, okay, that's who that is. So the first one here is Coulter. So Coulter is in an expansion of the game. It's the Nuka World expansion, which is cool. You're in an amusement park. There's different factions in different parts of the amusement parks. You imagine like Magic Kingdom at Disney, and there's like Space World, and there's Fantasyland, and all that. Well, it's kind of like that. And so when you first get there, there's a like kind of cage fighting thing where you're this guy's in power armor and you see it's almost like a it's like bumper cars, I'm sure is what it was, because he's got a metal spike that goes up to the ceiling that has electricity and that makes him stronger. I thought this was a pretty fun boss fight. I'll say cool enough on this one as well. He was not something that was like super integral to the story or anything, but he's pretty cool. um, we have a couple here. This is the Mechanist. So the Mechanist was also an expansion, Automatron or something. I'll get the name wrong. But moral of the story is there's a bunch of robots, like kind of garbage robots that get thrown out into the wasteland, and you just randomly run across them and fight them. But over time, you track down that there's a lair where they're being manufactured, and it is the Mechanist. Now, you don't actually fight the Mechanist. You see the Mechanist behind a glass wall, and they're throwing a billion robots at you, and it's a stressful fight. Like, super difficult for me the first time, and I'm sure I died. But I learned to get the right companions and stuff and figure it out. But once you win, you have the choice of defeating and killing the Mechanist. You do meet them in person, or you just make peace with them because of their motives and all that. And then you have control of their lair. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was a nice little addition. I'll have the Mechanist and Barely Not Awesome. The next one is pretty critical to the story, as this is Kellogg. So Kellogg is the person who kidnapped Sean. If you remember in the last video, I said Sean is kind of a mystery throughout most of the game. You just know that he's out there. You're trying to find him, but he ends up leading the Institute. Well, he had been kidnapped long ago while you were frozen. You could see him being kidnapped, and this was the dude that did it. The fight also was fun, and I believe he cloaked. It was in like his little office or something, and he would cloak, and I'd have to shoot around and flail around at him. But wasn't easy, wasn't all that difficult. But I'll have him in the Barely Not Awesome category too. I thought that was a fun little fight. And then Swan. So Swan is in the middle of, you're in Boston in Fallout 4, and there's a lake, not Swan Lake. I don't know if that's what they did, but it's like a pond. It's a pond. Um, he is a super mutant, and he's like specialized a bit. Most super mutants are generic, just as super mutant when you're fighting them. A behemoth is maybe his class, where it's a bigger one. He though kind of has a little bit more personality to him, some weird weapons. And the first time that I ran across him, I got mowed over because I just walked out and was like, "Oh, okay, this will be easy." And then just he crushed me. So went back with some nukes, mini nukes, and wasn't as difficult. But I thought Swan was fun as well. So I'll have him in Barely Not Awesome. Some of those may move up and down, but he was a unique fight as well. Okay, we get to Horizon. So I played both Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. I don't. The only thing I didn't play in all of them, or the two of them, was maybe a DLC in the first one. There was like a Far North or something that I just didn't play. I did play the DLC in the second one, so there's potential I missed a boss or something. But with Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, most of the game you're fighting giant machines. You are different classes, machines, etc. So it's not as like boss focused in the sense of like a person or a thing you're fighting all the time, but it is like, oh, you're facing this massive special version of that beast, and so it's almost like a boss. But I just included all those in the prior video because you run across them multiple times throughout the game. These are more either key characters to the lore. Again, this is like a game that's ready made to be a series or a show. Writes itself. The story's already there. So a lot of these characters play into it. Some of them are a little bit more complex and complicated. Some of them I'm sure I will mix up and mess up because they're like computer programs that are AI type computer programs. So the other thing is there's some of these characters that are a little generic. So we'll start there. And maybe it's just because I haven't played it super recently, so I don't remember the differentiation. But we have Eric Visser here and then Gerald Bieri. So I want to say both of these guys are from another, they're like descendants of humans, but they left the planet and now they came back. The planet was being destroyed, etc. It's the whole sci-fi story. You leave, and they're coming back to take over the Earth or prevent it from doing something. So they have more technology. They've got force field. You're more like bow and arrow stuff with a little bit of technology to it. I feel like there was a third one who I didn't include in here. She is a villain, but she kind of turns on them and helps you. So I just left her off. But Eric, I want to say is the main one. He was arrogant, had good bravado. The fights were okay, but I'm gonna have him as cool enough. I didn't find him to be like super interesting as a character. He would have been in Forbidden West, uh, the second one. And then, so I mentioned here Gerard. Gerard Bieri is not memorable. I don't remember him much. And maybe he was like one of the main. I don't remember. They were kind of generic. They all wear the same thing. You see that. Okay, then we have a ball. What is this ball? This ball is Hades. So Hades is, I think, the final boss in Horizon Zero Dawn. It looks like it's just a ball. It's you see wires coming out of it. It controls like machines and does a bunch of stuff. So it's a difficult boss fight. It was stressful from what I recall. Now I don't know if I died or whatever, but it was just the stress of it was like, oh my gosh, I'm at the end. I'm fighting this thing. Obviously, these really good games have awesome music and make you stressed out about it. So maybe that was more of it. But yeah, it was an interesting character. He was kind of there throughout. I'll have him as Barely Not Awesome. I like the plot. I like the concepts behind it more so than just the battle. So I thought that was cool. I could get him mixed up with some of the other AIs here that are coming up though. Then we have this Hellas. So I don't remember Hellas much. I should. Looks familiar. He's like a one of the factions. He's a leader, but I don't remember fighting him. I don't remember what he was pushing for, if he was just selling people out. So I'm going to have him in the don't remember much about him. Okay, then we have, let's see, is this Hephaestus? Yeah. So Hephaestus, again, this is like an icon. There were multiple. The whole point was you had, I think it was Gaia, who's this AI program that uses these other AI programs to rebuild the Earth. Like if it fails, they're designed to do certain things. So 7 out of the 8 or whatever were trying to do their job. Well, Hephaestus was corrupt or something like that. Um, Hephaestus was always a cool little driver. I'm going to have it in the barely not awesome category because I always felt its presence in the game. It's strange to say that, but it's like, oh, this thing's corrupt and trying to undermine the world and take it over, and it's just an ongoing theme. I don't know that you don't fight Hephaestus, from what I recall, but you are probably like in a cauldron or something where you're fighting a lot of machines that are controlled by it, something like that. Uh, okay, this is Horus. Um, this is in, and I should have said Hephaestus is more from Zero Dawn. This is from Far West. Horus is a giant spider-like machine. You see it there. It's got giant, tentacles coming out, legs, whatever you want to call them. Giant red eye. Oftentimes, you're trying to hit the eye. They have weak spots. These robots, but this thing's huge. You have to chase it. The battle is long. You're like running after it, getting swiped at. You've got to time it. You've got to like find weak spots. It was super stressful. I thought the fight was awesome. I think you actually have to go inside, break inside it, get to like the control center and shut it down. Super fun fight. I'm gonna have him as awesome. Okay, then we have Nemesis. Now, Nemesis is where I struggle a bit more on remembering the whole AI relationship thing. I want to say this was in the second one. Um, and maybe he's coming from the other planet, but I don't recall. I'm going to have to put in the don't remember much, and that's could be pathetic. It pops into my head. I could be like, oh yeah, Nemesis was awesome. But yeah, I just don't remember what it specifically was doing other than it looked cool. And you're like, oh gosh, that looks menacing. Okay. Then we have Regala. So Regala is a warrior who is one of the tribes out in the West. So kind of the moral of the story with Zero Dawn and West, Forbidden West is, and I said Far West, it's Forbidden West. It is Horizon Zero Dawn. You're on a map. You're in a world. You're like in around at least your home, your tribe, which you are kind of kicked out of, but somewhat the area. Kind of what's going on. Map's big. Then the second one, you go to the Forbidden West. There's like a gate, and you get to the gate of like where your world ends and the new world starts. And I remember feeling anxiety going through that gate. It's like, oh gosh, I don't know this. It could be anything out there. And it's really like the west coast of the U.S. I think San Francisco is like maybe one of the last places, but it's an open field and all this stuff. And so anyway, you go out and you don't get very far, and all of a sudden, like, you are ambushed. And Regala and her goons are the ones that do it, and they are threatening, menacing, killing people. Like, I felt the anxiety over me of her presence and the like camps and things in the second game until you eventually get to take her out. But I thought she was barely not awesome too. I thought she was a fun character. All right, we get to Spectre Prime. So Spectre Prime is the final boss of the Forbidden West game, the basic game. It is a Spectre is a type of machine that is advanced. It is, I think, from the futuristic society more so than ours. The boss fight was kind of underwhelming for me. I had an easier time of it than I think I was supposed to. I don't know why. I had fought specters before. I had them on my other video. They are stressful. They're like fast and running around and shooting everything, and maybe that helped me to be ready for this or adjust to it. But I thought it was kind of generic, so I'm gonna have it in the cool enough. It wasn't a fail to me. I thought it was a fine fight. It's like you had to fight something at the end, and that was okay. Okay, couple cooler ones or different ones here. Sylens is a little bit of a popular character, I would say, within Horizon. Um, the actor who voiced him passed away not that long ago. Can't remember his name. Um, but he is always in your ear. So you've got like an earpiece, and he's explaining to you in the first one what to do. Then you have a falling out, and then you realize he has his own motivations, and he's kind of not a good guy. But it's also morally ambiguous. He's got his own, agenda, and who's to say that agenda is not the right agenda? So he's a complicated character. Now, I don't know that it ever really reconciles. I don't remember how you reconcile with him in the end. If it's just like we're good, you go your own way. I don't remember if he dies. I don't think he does in the games, because I just kind of remember it being more like a agree to disagree type thing. I'm going to have Sylens as Barely Not Awesome. I thought he was a fun character to have in the game. And then the last one here is from Forbidden West, but it is the expansion. You are in like Hollywood, something, or LA. So you go south of the San Francisco piece, and there's some like cool. It's almost like you have a bit of a combination of the hills and everything from Los Angeles, but you also have like a little theme park, some other stuff. It's kind of cool little space. But anyway, Walter is there, and I think he is like a rich Hollywood something. He has a lot of spectacle, and I remember his fight is in like a theme park deal. Pretty has a lot of like bravado. Pretty fun character. So I'm gonna have him up in the cool enough category as well. Okay, that takes us to some Mario type games. Luigi's Mansion, I think this is 3. That's the one I've played. It's been a while since I've played it, so some of these may not, the fights themselves don't stick in my head as much as they should. Characters, though, the important ones are the ones that are important to me, will stick in my head. So we've got a few of them. Luigi's Mansion, you are in a hotel. It starts all bright and Mario-y, and then it goes dark, and everybody's kidnapped, and you're getting chased by King Boo. And then you've got to like fight all of these different ghosts. So I think, and I was trying to think, I know I had an issue getting King Boo's thing, and then figuring out where I was going to put him. So King Boo is technically in multiple games. I've got him down farther, like in Mario games, but he is also in this game. I will just talk about him in both games when I get there. Okay, so the different floors of the hotel are different themes, right? Each floor is its own theme. Each floor has its own boss. I think I have all the bosses in here. Some are, they're all pretty unique and distinct, which is cool that they do it that way. I didn't play like 2. They may do the same thing, and maybe there's a 4 now. I can't recall. So the first one we have here is Amadeus Wolfgeist. So a little play on the old classical music. So Amadeus is memorable. You are in, if I recall, a theater with a piano up front, and he's attacking you while you're trying to get on stage and take him out. I thought he was a cool looking guy. I don't remember too much about, he think of like the flamboyant piano player, like flipping up the back of his cape and all that. That's kind of the character that I recall him being. But I liked him. I thought he was fun. So I'm going to have him up in the Barely Not Awesome category to start. Then we have Chambria. So you got like a maid. And Chambria is not all that memorable to me. I don't really remember the fight. Might have been real early where you're just getting acclimated to the game. I might be wrong about that, but I'm going to have her in the don't remember much. Um, Chef Soul Flay. Soul pun there. Soul Flay is in a kitchen, like you would imagine, and pots and pans being thrown around. Just remember going around like the middle island and fighting him. I thought he was cool enough. Like I enjoyed fighting him. I don't remember too much. You know, it's kind of the arrogant chef personality, but I don't remember too much beyond that. His personality. Then we have Clem. So Clem, if I recall, you're fighting where you're in like a floaty or something, like something inflatable, and you're like pushing around and trying to take him out. He's kind of a redneck personality there, which I thought was kind of fun. I'm gonna have him in the. Let's start him in the cool enough category, but he may move up as I think about him a little bit more. Okay, director Morty, I believe. A little bit of a soft spot here because director Morty, you fight in like a kaiju film studio. He's like the got the city behind him that's like a set, you know, small city, and then you fight like a Godzilla type fight with director Morty. So Morty, I think, is barely not awesome as well. He's got a fun personality. He's, you know, smiling and having a good time. So liked director Morty. DJ Phantasma something. Yeah, Phantasmagoria. Uh, cool stage, fun game. I like the game. I don't remember too much about her fight other than it being, you know, music related and a lot of music going on. But I'm gonna have her in the don't remember much either, and I probably should, but I just haven't played the game in all that long. Then we got Dr. Potter. So Dr. Potter, I remember his level more. I feel like I was thinking about this earlier with another game. A lot of tree going up the floor, and it like, you know, the vines going in all the rooms and all that. But I don't remember the fight with Dr. Potter all that much. I remember the level. So I'm gonna have that in the don't remember much either, from him or his personality even, and maybe it's just because the fight was good, or wasn't good. And then Helen, just Helen. I don't remember Helen. Trying to remember what stage or what floor she was on, but I can't remember her. And again, if I saw it, I might be like, "Oh yeah, that floor was great and she was awesome," but I don't remember her compared to some of the others here. All right, now we get to Johnny Deep End. So you're fighting in a pool. Johnny Deep End's like the cool lifeguard ghost. The pool was fun. It was a fun departure, different type of level. I will have him in the cool enough category. We have King McFright, like McFright. You're like in a jousting knights, like what? Not even like a real, you know, castle or anything. This is like you're in one of those that I can't remember what they're called, but you go to like a jousting fight or something today. One of those type places. So you have an audience and all that. And he's, you know, fighting you there. I thought that was pretty fun. And I'm gonna have him in the barely not awesome category as well. I thought that was a fun little level and boss fight with him. He's like the regal king, you know, mindset. Okay. Cruller, police officer with a water gun. I don't really remember him all that much. So I'm gonna just have him down there as well. He might have been the boss around like the shopping mall, but I don't remember fighting him. It seems like it could have been fun if he's got a little gun like that, but I don't remember. Then we get to the magician ghosts. I didn't split them up, and I'm not gonna remember. I think it's Nikki, Lindsay, and Jenny, something like that. Fun magic floor. They obviously are magicians themselves, and it creates, since there's three of them, it creates like a nice little challenge when you're fighting them. I thought they were cool enough. I thought that was a fun boss fight. Serpsy. It's like serpent, Cersei combo. In the desert, sands, night time is what it felt like. Come like she'd be under the sand maybe and come up. I might be mistaking some of the level for the fight with her, but I thought it was cool enough. I like that level, and I thought she was a cool boss. The Cleopatra type villain there. Then we have this might have been like the intro boss, Steward. Just bellhop dude. But I don't. He looks scared. It's like I don't even want to be fighting. I'm gonna put him in the don't remember much either about like his personality or fight. Then we get to the last one for Luigi's Mansion, and this is Ugg. So Ugg is a caveman in a like prehistoric museum, like dinosaurs and such. This fight I thought was really fun. I'm gonna have it in the barely not awesome category. He's big, burly. I remember being stressed out about trying to dodge. I liked his caveman personality. It was fun, so I liked him a lot. Okay, this gets us to Mario, and Mario has a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different games. I have played Mario 1, Mario 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario World, Mario 64, Odyssey, and then Mario Kart games, and then Super Smash Brother games. So I think I got the ones that I would know. Might have missed some because there's just a billion different Mario characters. We'll start with Bowser. So Bowser was, and this is where back in the day when Super Mario 1 came out, you had very limited information about games other than what's in like the little book that comes with it, or if you happen to look at a magazine or whatever. I knew him as King Koopa when Mario 1 came out. And when he became Bowser, and maybe he was always Bowser, but like, what, by the third or maybe Super Mario World, I figured out he was Bowser. Definitely Super Mario World because they had like his name and lights and things. But I was like, what is that? Did they change him? And it's like, well, he's technically king of the Koopas, so it's kind of both. So he takes on different forms across many different games. His I can't think of a game where I don't like the interpretation of him. I think they've evolved him greatly. He's been an awesome antagonist. He's iconic for sure, but at the same time, his boss battles are important. So let's go back to the original. When Mario 1 first came out, when you got to the subterranean level where you first fought him, it was stressful because the music was terrifying. You are like in what felt like a dungeon. You are getting fire blown from who knows where. You don't know what he looks like. You've never seen him before. And you just see fire coming across and you're dodging the fire. You've only got like 2 hits, if you're big. And so dodging a bunch of stuff, dodging the fire, and then you get closer and closer, and then you realize there's a bridge and there's this guy. Now, today, I'm sure, if you run across that, it's just like, oh, okay, well, I jump over it, or I run under him, or I, whatever, to hit the axe, to knock the bridge down. It's not hard, whatever. At the time, it was terrifying, at least to me. because this thing is jumping around. I'm panicking. The music creates anxiety. You don't know what to do. You're like, oh my gosh, how do I kill this thing? And I've been jumping on a bunch of stuff, but he's got spikes on his back. Jumping on his head doesn't work, all that. So you eventually figure out, like, you know, I need to just run and jump over him and time it and all that. But yeah, it was super terrifying. Then you get to like Super Mario World and Super Mario 3. Like those versions were cool with like the dynamics were improved. Obviously, he has more attacks. It's, still stressful. The levels are stressful. The music's stressful. Then you get to N64 and he's 3D. And you get to Super Mario 64 and you've got to like spin him around and throw him to hit bombs. Now, I didn't think that version of him was very difficult in any of the capacities. And then Mario Odyssey, kind of a similar story, like 3D, not all that difficult. You do get to play as him because you throw your hat on him and get to be him, which fun little homage. Not the most difficult game, but it was kind of cool. So yeah, he's had a lot of iterations, and I talk about him a lot because he is one of the Supremes for sure. We'll put him up at the top. Okay, now we get to Bowser Jr. Man, I don't remember where Bowser Jr. made his debut. If it was Super Mario World, if it was later. I have played as him more in like Super Smash Brothers or Mario Kart. This is Bowser's kid, from what I understand, compared to the others that we'll have on the list that are like his nieces and nephews. Koopa kids, could be wrong. But Bowser Jr. flies in his little, a lot of them fly in their little Bowser mobiles, whatever they call those. And he's cool. He's got his little bib, and he's got his, teeth on there, and he's kind of mean. But he's fun enough. I'll have him in cool enough. All right, a bit of a departure here. This is Claw Grip. So I don't remember Claw Grip all that much. I think it's from Mario 2. Mario 2 doesn't have, I didn't find very good pictures of them like in game or what they looked like there. I feel like I only beat Mario 2 once. And so some of the villains or main characters I don't remember as much as like beating 2 or 1 or 3 or World that I've played multiple times. So don't remember him. And then we have Cookateel? Yeah, Cookateel. Because it was like a giant, I don't know, cooking pot that you were fighting Cookateel in. Kind of goofy character. Wasn't the easiest thing for me to deal with, like figuring it out or getting to where they were, and then I fell out, I feel like, and came back. But I'll say this, it kind of threw me off. I didn't really like Cookateel, so I'm going to put not good. I just didn't enjoy that boss fight for some reason. Some people may love it and be like, oh yeah, super fun, but the character felt off to me. Okay, we have Donkey Kong. So there's obviously better interpretations or visuals of Donkey Kong. This is the original Donkey Kong from Mario versus Donkey Kong games. So, you're climbing the ladders, jumping over the barrels, dodging to get to save Princess Peach from the King Kong, Donkey Kong of the world. He evolved, obviously to be a hero. Still an antagonist of Mario sometimes, but certainly not the mean villain that he was originally. Thinking back to playing the original, Mario Donkey Kong game, he was stressful, and it wasn't like him. It was the barrels he was throwing and the timing. And I remember almost being distracted by him. It's like, oh, I want to see him, but I can't look at him because I'm busy jumping barrels and dodging fire or whatever. And I need to get to him, and then he'll just run away and get higher up and higher up. But Donkey Kong, I will have as awesome. I would have liked. I'll be honest. Maybe there was, and I just don't know. I would have liked a newer game where he is the villain again. like, doesn't have to be a villain, but like a Mario antagonist where he's legit, against Mario for some reason. You can always make them team up at the end or whatever, but where you have to deal with him as a villain and fight him. Because he had a lot of potential to do that. All right, we have Fry Guy. So also from Mario 2, but Fry Guy, remember. And Fry Guy was, I'm always a little anxious when you get to fire villains. Like, oh, that could burn me. It's a lot less stressful when I'm fighting somebody shooting poison at me or water at me, because like fire is scary. And Fry Guy was cool enough. I thought he was a fun, villain to fight into. I don't know how throwing stuff at fire really stops him, but he's a Fry Guy, so that's probably why. Okay, Mario Odyssey. This is Harriet. These are the Brutals. The Brutals are like a little family. I don't remember their backstory. I'm sure some people think they're lame. Because they're not the Koopa Kids or whatever. It was a different, switch it up. They're rabbit people, and rabbits aren't often made to be villains, unless it's like Monty Python. But yeah, you don't really see them. So a little bit of a take. I vaguely remember each of their fights. Their personalities, they're all kind of like mean and arrogant. Obviously there's a mom and then the kids, but so Harriet, her hair like extends and like floats around and flies around and hits you, and I remember it being kind of fun to fight her, so I'm gonna have her as cool enough. I thought of them, she's probably one of my favorites. We'll see. Okay, King Bob-omb. So Bob-omb is likely in multiple things now. I don't know. My main memory of him is fighting him on Bob-omb Battlefield in N64. The top of the mountain is the first boss you face in a 3D Mario game and a Mario world. Is it the hardest thing in the world? It's not, but it was fun. Especially when you're not good. Like when you start and you don't know how to like easily run around a boss and get them confused, because you're essentially trying to run around him, pick him up from the back and toss him, and you toss him 3 times and you end up beating him. So not all that bad. But if you get caught by him, he doesn't beat you up, he doesn't knock you out too much, he just throws you over the edge, chucks you off the mountain, which is awesome. I thought that was super fun. So King Bob-omb 2 is like a kind of fun, cool character to me, so I'm going to have him in the barely not awesome category to start. All right, King Boo. So King Boo, like I said in Luigi's Mansion, is that's his key game. Like he's the main villain. You fight him at the end. He's also in Mario, games like N64. I remember, you go to the haunted house and he's the final boss. But those boss fights aren't, much. They're just a couple of butt pounds and you can get him. But yeah, it's not the same as Luigi's Mansion. So Luigi's Mansion is where I remember like fighting him at the end and being on a rooftop, and there's a lot going on. But I also like King Boo and like Mario Kart. I'm a fan of the Boos. I like a lot of their floating and menacing stuff that they can do. And Boo, Little Boo, is my favorite Mario Tennis player to play with. Has a just killer slice. So as part of the Boos, I'm going to have Boo in my awesome, King Boo in my awesome category. All right, these kids, these Koopa kids. It's tough for me sometimes to keep certain ones straight, next to being the 2 specifically. Larry and Lemmy, I believe. And so Larry should be first, and that is the case, blue-haired Larry. I tend to get them mixed up because I always remember one of them's like nuts, like crazy, and that's Lemmy. That's the next one. You see it in his eyes. He's got the crazy eyes. So I don't remember too much about like his personality and like his fight. So I'm going to be fair and say I don't remember him much. I remember he exists. If somebody says Larry Koopa, one of the Koopa kids, I'll be like, yeah, I know. But I don't remember him, so I'm going to differentiate them a little bit. Then you have Lemmy. Lemmy, I remember more. Lemmy is the crazy one. You see a bomb in his hand. He's on a ball. Like it was more of a, chaotic type thing to me that I recalled. I will have him in the cool enough category. You get to Ludwig. Ludwig is one of the cooler ones to me. I always loved his hair. I loved his wand. He's more of the magician type look there, and he is one that I will have in my barely not awesome category. Okay, back to the Brutals. We have the mother Brutal here. I think is like Madame Brood something. She has a chain chomp, which is fun. A little gold chain chomp with a hat. That's okay. Sits in the spirit of the game. I know. Um, but I don't remember too much about her fight. I remember her being like super mean, uh, and using the chain chomp obviously within the fight. I thought it was cool enough. Like the fights, the game for what the game was. Like I thought the fights were fine. Uh, Again, not the most challenging in the world, but still fun. Okay, this is Mollusque Lancieux, so a French octopus in the water world, waterland. I remember you have to. He's like either you throw your hat on something and you are able to shoot yourself up in the air and you've got to like hit him and stuff. I thought that was a pretty fun boss fight actually. Um, and he was kind of a cool character. It was a memorable. I'm trying to think if I'd. Let's put him up here for now in the barely not awesome category. But yeah, it was a fun enough fight that I'd have it there. Morton. Morton, I get confused sometimes as Roy and vice versa, even though they don't really look the same. Roy's down farther. Morton is like the to me just the big brute one of them. But man, I don't remember too much of his fight, but I do think Morton's cool. Like I remember him more than I do a Larry. Somebody's like, "What does Morton look like?" It's like, "Oh yeah, he's the one with a gray and white face, and it's kind of the strong guy." It'd be interesting to go back and play like Super Mario World again to see if I could differentiate some of their fights more. I like them more as a concept of the Koopa kids than I do like the individual fights, etc. And they're also fun to like drive separately or whatever on Mario Kart. Okay, Mouser. Mouser is uh, second last. I could be wrong. Boss in Mario 2. Maybe not. Maybe it's the second period. And I was trying to remember kind of the level. I think he might have just been like the second level or something. Could be wrong. But had bombs, throws bombs. I remember trying to chuck stuff at him, scooting back, picking it up, scooting again to get another peg or whatever you used to throw at him. But I thought he was cool enough. I liked him. All right, Rango, man, I don't remember Rango's stuff all that much. Um, and I'm looking at the other two as well. I remember one of them more than the others. So I'll start him in the don't remember much because he like hops around, but I don't know what his attack is. So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. He's kind of more of the country bumpkin looking dude to me. All right, then we got Roy. This is the one like Morton that I get confused sometimes, but I like that he's almost holding a cannon like a boombox. He's got the cool shades. So I will have him in the barely not awesome category. I always liked Roy. And yeah, fires his cannon at you, so he's cool. Then we got So what's this guy called? Okay, Ruined Dragon. So the Ruined Dragon is on this weird level in Mario Odyssey where you are in a kind of dilapidated castle in the middle of a vortex, and then you fight this giant dragon at the end, and it's like his head, and he's shooting lasers at you, and you have to climb up on him and like hit his head. So you're not fighting like a flying dragon that's all over the screen. You're fighting something right in front of you. And the fight was okay. I thought it was fun. It was weird. I mean, it's if you're a Mario person where you're like, what? You know, I don't want to be in reality at all. I want to, or fantasy like this. I want to be in Mario's world. Then it's probably a bit off putting, but I thought he was cool enough. It was a nice change. You can't just have the same game over and over again. Spewart, I don't remember. I mean, I remember Spewart, but I don't remember much about him. I don't remember his personality. I don't remember fighting him or his attacks. The only one that I do is Topper here, which uses his hats. And you are getting attacked by hats, if I'm not mistaken, which makes sense. His name is Topper, and I'll have Topper as cool enough. I thought that fight was fun. All right, we've got a few more Marios, I think, and then we get to Mass Effect, which maybe we can get all that done in this one and then start with Mega Man. That's probably a good place to stop. And Mega Man, I went ahead and included the Robot Masters because they are technically bosses instead of putting themselves somewhere else. So a lot to go through there, but we'll get to that next. So Triclyde is next for Mario 2. I couldn't even find like a really good picture of him, so that's why you see the one with the background and all that. But Triclyde was, you know, the serpent, the Hydra kind of deal, firing fireballs, I believe, which I thought was cool enough. He wasn't like somebody I totally forgot, but I didn't find him to be all that difficult, if I remember. Then we have Waluigi and Wario. Now, I don't think that I fought either of these guys in any game. Most of my time with them has been Mario Kart or Smash Brothers, Mario Tennis. So it's more that I know their personalities. I do appreciate them as characters, though. So Waluigi is the Bizarro Luigi. Wario is the Bizarro Mario. You could do that wrong and make it kind of lame. Like, I'm surprised they made, you know, they didn't know at the time, sure, but, you know, make Bizarro Mario skinny and make Bizarro Luigi fat, and then you flip them. But it was just that they're like their evil counterpart. So Waluigi, I will have in the barely not awesome category. I like him, though. I think he stands out on his own. It's not just like a Wario replica. And then Wario I'm going to have in the awesome category because I love his menacing stuff, and he's also one of the best racers I have on Mario Kart. 64 at least. I don't know about the other one. This is Wart. That's right. Wart is the final boss in 2, I believe. Now that was, again, a repackaged game where it was made to be something else, but they ported it over because Mario 2, the one that they actually designed, was too hard, they thought, to move to the United States. So they used whatever the name of that Mario 1 game was, or Mario 2 game was, and changed it. And then Wart is the final boss of whatever that game was supposed to be. And it all just ended up being a dream. I believe he used bubbles, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember it being all that difficult when I got to the end, and I could be wrong, but I'll have him as cool enough. He's not like super memorable, but I would have hoped at this point, maybe even though it was a dream, they could have like brought some of these guys back so they maybe have more of a presence. Maybe they did in a game. I just don't know. But I think it'd be worth revisiting some of those guys. All right, we have Wendy Koopa. So Wendy, the female of the group, got a little bit of a princess feel to her, and I like Wendy. I'm going to have Wendy in the cool enough section as well. King Thwomp, Womp King. Yeah, not Thwomp, Womp. Womp King. Second level of N64, maybe. Have to get up close to him, let him fall, run under him, get around back, do a butt sit on him, and take him out. I like the Womps. They're fun. It's just like I'm a brick and all I do is fall on you. That's a pretty admirable thing, and for them to be able to get back up is pretty impressive. He is cool enough for me. I don't know that he had much more personality. He wasn't like a King Bomb Bomb, as cool as a King Bomb Bomb. And then we have Wiggler. Wiggler, sweet looking, nice little caterpillar until you tick it off. Then it turns red and gets mad and chases you. And I remember that being at least moderately stressful. I think it was in the Big Small World or whatever that world was in N64, Mario 64. And I'll have Wiggler as cool enough as well. I do remember the fight, and it was fun. Okay, we'll do Mass Effect. That'll probably put us at about an hour, and then we'll stop it for, like I said, Mega Man going forward. All right. So Mass Effect, I played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I did not play Andromeda, which was the newer one that got bad reviews, and I wasn't Shepard and that whole story. So didn't really care to play. But the Mass Effect series is one of my favorite series of games to play. Again, makes no sense that nobody's adapted this yet. I think it's being adapted, but there's shows like The Expanse that are essentially this, and they just need to move the story over. There's different, they're all tied together, 1, 2, and 3 in terms of story. Most of these are like intertwined bosses into being a part of the same faction. Not all of them. And then some are in multiple games, but you don't actually fight them in one or the other. So we'll call that out. All right, we are starting with one of the main villains. This is Harbinger. So Harbinger is a giant Leviathan-looking thing. It is a Reaper that they are coming from outside the galaxy to destroy the galaxy. It's their job to like come back and cleanse the galaxy every X amount of years, and thousands of years, but millions of years maybe, but I think it's thousands. So they are huge. They have a giant laser that shoots out. They're menacing, terrifying. They make a really loud, booming sound that's intimidating, super scary. And I think in 3, you are at the end like having to run into it. Literally, it's on the ground and you're like in a war zone and you're fighting through barely, like on your deathbed trying to get in this thing. So he's an awesome fight. He's super cool. I will have him in the awesome category to start. Okay, we have the Human Reaper. So Mass Effect 2 is one of the best games of all time. And at the end, so the Reapers are actually, they take genetic material from different species, and there are many different alien races, and they try to create their own like Reaper species. So you have like the Collectors that are based off of the Protheans, I think is what they're called. So this is a Human Reaper. This is their effort to say we're going to make a giant human version of these, cyborg type deals. It's not fully made. It is like in the middle of being made. You're going to stop it at the end. And I was disappointed with this fight. I didn't really get the boss. I'm going to have not good there with all these. Like I always say, some people may be like, oh no, it's perfect. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. The lead up to the boss is incredible. The level is incredible. You have to, one of the beauties of Mass Effect, you have to make all these decisions throughout all the games, and they all carry over. Like every single dialogue decision or choice, you're going to pick this person or that person to do X job. And did you earn their trust throughout the game, because if you didn't and they get assigned to do a certain job, they're going to fail, and then you're going to have people die in your party, and then all this other stuff. And guess what? Then they don't show up in Mass Effect 3 because they're dead. Like, super cool. The suicide run or whatever it's called. But yeah, when I get to him, it's not that he's terrible. Like, and maybe it's unfair that he's here because, like, again, I shouldn't hold the game against it, but I just don't see this as like a meaningful fight, like in any game. So I'm gonna have it not good. The Elusive Man. The Elusive Man is who finds you in Mass Effect 2 after you've been spaced, and saves you with Cerberus. They are not seen as the best faction in the world. They're like a human-centric faction, so they're kind of against aliens. But he ends up in 3 being a bad dude, and he's been influenced by the Reapers, and he's mind controlled, and you have to take him out. It's a cool fight, and we'll talk about that in a little bit with the next guy too. But he's more cool as a character. I think it's Martin Sheen is his voice, maybe. But the Elusive Man is awesome. He's a really menacing, kind of cool, but has his own motivations and stuff type character. All right, Kai Lang. Kai Lang is the right-hand man of the Elusive Man. He is like your kind of equal on the evil side, not evil side, but the motivation to be doing what they're doing side. And you fight him, and it's like throughout the game you are running into him and seeing his dirty work, or like fighting him for a little bit, and then he comes back at the end. And I remember this being a very tough fight, and not necessarily something maybe I won the first time, I can't remember, but that it was long, like that I had to fight my way through it and figure out what I needed to do. So I will have Kai Lang as Barely Not Awesome. I thought he was pretty fun. Now the character itself, he doesn't have personality. He's kind of like not a robot, but just a very stoic type person. This one is hard to see. Not the best picture here, but I think it's the Rachni Queen. Yeah, so Rachni Queen. The Rachni Queen, back to the decision-making stuff, can go back a little bit to the first one. So you find the Rachni Queen on this planet. It is in a jar, it's a giant, like it's in captivity. It has like a hive mind with the Rachni, the spiders, and they attack you, and you have a choice to make. Am I going to kill the Rachni Queen, or am I going to let her go and trust it? Now you might say, well, of course you trust it, but they had a war before this in the lore where they were created and almost took over the galaxy. And so it's like, the Zerg or that type of mindset, and they're like, oh gosh, are we going to trust this? Well, the Rachni Queen comes back in the third one. Now, if you killed her, it's like a clone or something weird. But if you save her, she comes back and she actually can help you. So she's not a villain in that regard if you make the right decisions. But if not, you do fight her, and she is tough. I'll have her in the Barely Not Awesome category. I thought she's interesting and had depth, actually, as like a hive mind character, which is pretty cool. All right, Saren. Saren is from the first game. He is the primary villain. So he is a Spectre, which is like you have this alien council that runs the galaxy. They have secret agents effectively from the different races. Humans don't have one until you become one, because you figure out that he is corrupt, and your job is to go get him and chase him down and figure out what the heck is going on and why did he go rogue. So you've got to chase him down. You fight him, I think, a couple times, but I definitely remember the last fight. Turns out that he was actually kind of brainwashed a bit, or allowed himself to be, by the Reapers, and he is kind of, you start one thinking, oh, the threat's just this, and then you figure out it's this bigger thing with Harbinger and all that. So Saren is an awesome character. Again, a good. They have good depth in their characters with good motivations, which makes it a lot better. The next one is Shepard. It's you, but it's not. It's a clone. There is a DLC where somebody had cloned you and is like ruining your name and doing a bunch of stuff you shouldn't be doing, and then you end up fighting yourself. So it's like we had Kai Lang earlier, but this is actually you, so it is your antithesis. But yeah, he is fun enough. I'll have him as cool enough. I liked the character. The DLC was fun. Like with Mass Effect 3, which isn't as good of a game as 2, but it's still, I think, a great game. You get the satisfaction in the third one of at the end in the DLC being able to be around your squad mates, which sounds stupid, but it's like, no, you've learned to you picked these people up over time onto your crew. You've gotten to know them. You've helped them with missions. You get to see them interact with each other, and you're literally just in an apartment having a party after you dust this clone Shepard and all that. I think so. It's pretty cool, pretty rewarding because you feel like you just like completed your journey, or that might have been right before you go after him, something like that. So yeah, cool, fun. DLC there. We have this Televasir, I think. I don't remember Tela all that much. In fact, I don't remember enough to say I'll put it in the don't remember much because I can't say I know which game she was specifically in. These Asari, that's the race, are fun because they're like pretty powerful. They've got the different attacks. They tend to be like, some are kind of nice, some are mean. You have Liara on your team who's great. But yeah, anybody who's got those types of powers is pretty fun to fight against, but there's also a lot of them, so I can't really differentiate Tela from the others. And then we get to the Shadow Broker. So Shadow Broker is also a DLC where you're on this. It's kind of an awesome atmosphere. Most of Mass Effect is when you're on in a level, but you're like on a ship in this atmosphere of a world that's like storming and chaotic, and you're trying to fight through to get into the ship to find the Shadow Broker. The Shadow Broker is like the black market communications across the galaxy, and who's in charge. And you're thinking it's going to be this like super intelligent something person. Well, you get in and you figure out it's actually this guy, and he is something they call a Yarg, I believe, something similar to that. And I think he killed the real Shadow Broker and then became the Shadow Broker, and they're like not seen as being this like great species, but they're very violent and very war savvy. He is a brutal fight. He's strong and big and intimidating. He's got a big like predator like mouth. Or just a mouth that opens and has teeth, that kind of thing. So I thought he was pretty cool. I'm going to have him in the barely not awesome category. Might move. He's kind of in the middle of that. Cool enough, barely not awesome. Okay, so that gets us through several of the games. We're down in Mega Man. There's maybe a game or two that I know I didn't include in here that I might go back and add. If I can get the time to do it. But yeah, so that gets us through. We're doing pretty good on keeping it fairly balanced, I think. I think we're okay with the categories. If I get toward the end, because I will rank them and order them like always, but I will add a category if I'm like, oh, there's really something between cool enough and don't remember, or between barely awesome and cool enough that'll separate them out a little. I'll add that at the end, but we'll start here. And go to Mega Man next time.